What's going on, guys? Today I'm starting a series where I am going to walk you guys through how you take your website designs, any design you make for a website, put that into HTML, CSS, and even I might do a little bit of JavaScript and jQuery to make your sites a little more interactive when you interact with the site. I'm going to show you how to do that, walk you through the steps, and by no time you guys will be coding out your designs. And it may seem daunting at first, but don't worry, keep your head up. I'll get you guys through all this, and it's gonna be super awesome. This site right here is something that I designed really fast. If you guys are looking for super awesome royalty-free images for your designs, you guys can come to a site called Unsplash, which is my favorite for royalty free. They have 10 new photos every 10 days. You can use them anywhere. Just do whatever you want license. It's under Creative Commons 0, which means you can copy, modify, distribute, use the photos for free, even commercial purposes. Super awesome. Just really great. I use it all the time for when I'm doing concept designs, or if I need something for a client, something like that. They're pretty artsy photos, so sometimes they don't really apply to client work, but they're just really high quality photos. They're really great. So if you ever need photos, come here. Anyways, back to the design. So the first thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to make a folder for your website root. So right here, I'm going to make a new folder, and I'm going to call it Choka website. You can name it whatever you want. It doesn't matter. Inside this folder, you need just a few basic things just for up there. And then also, I'm going to be using some Sass, which is basically a quicker, it's built off of CSS. It's just a quicker and a more fun way to write CSS, and I'm going to be using a program called Mixture, which you can get on the Windows and on Mac, and it helps you pre-process those Sas files into a CSS file. If you don't know what I'm talking about, you'll learn soon enough, because I'll be using it every video. So I'm going to make a Sass folder here, and then if you're not going to use Sass, you don't need this folder. If you want, you can just have your CSS, but you'll see soon enough that it's not a huge deal if you don't use it. It's just, I personally really like it. Makes my workflow faster, and it gives you the opportunity to really use some awesome functionality within Sass to speed up your workflow. Anyways, so in Mixture here, I'm going to say that I have a new project. I'm going to go to Desktop, and I'm going to find my folder, and then from here I'm going to say Open, and it'll notice that this is not a Mixture project. I will say that I want my preprocessor to be Sass folder, the style output folder to be the CSS folder, and the script output folder to be the JavaScript folder. And then I'll go ahead and say Continue. It's going to work, and it's going to say everything is okay, which means it installed Mixture JSON file in the project folder, and everything will be working now. And I'll bring my browser over here. As you can see, if I say View Locally, I get a browser window. It says Page Not Found because I do not have an index.html file in the folder yet. But the second I make one, I'll show you something super awesome. I'll go into my text editor. I'll go File, Open, and I'll open up my website right here. I'm using Sublime Text 3. You can use whatever text editor you want, but this is what I'm using right now. From here, I will go right-click on my root folder, and I'll say New File, and I will say index.html. And just watch this. Watch the browser as I do this. Once I make this file, what's super awesome about Mixture and using Sass is you get an automatic reload. Let's go ahead and save that. Boom. Do you see that went away? That is called the automatic reload, which automatically watches your files and notices if there's any changes. It'll automatically reload that page for you, and it makes your development workflow super fast. So what I'm going to start off with here is I'm going to start off with a basic Doctype HTML. Oops. Alrighty, so this is the Doctype HTML tag, which basically tells the browser that this file is an HTML5 file. You have your HTML tag, you have your head tag, which is going to store all of your metadata, your links to your CSS files, your links to font files, all that good stuff. So in the title tag is what actually pops up right here. This is what will show in, if I type something here, this is what it'll show up right in that tab. So I'm going to go ahead and type Choka. If I refresh that, Choka pops up right there. That's super awesome. Alrighty. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to start making my Sass documents here. So in my Sass folder, I'm going to make a new file. And I'm going to call it main.sass. Right there. Alright. I'm also going to make another file. And this is the super awesome thing about Sass. I'm going to call it variables.sass. Alright. Then what I can do on my main.sass is I can say import So now I am importing the variables.sass. So this is where I'm going to store all of my Sass variables. And variables are specific to Sass. You cannot do variables in CSS. Just to give you an example of how a variable is super awesome with CSS is, say you have, in our design, we have this color here. Let's go down. Let's find a color. Let's go right there. We'll find that color, this color right here. So say this is our concept or our accent color for our site. We can go ahead and create a variable name called accent color and put this right there. Oh, I don't need that. Alright, now everything's cool. So now let's say I want my, let's go back to our main.sass. Let's come down here and let's say we have a body which is going to have a background of, now we just call that variable, which I called it accent color. Alright, now we're going to come down here and say okay, so what we're going to do now is we are going to go into our index.html and we are going to link our style sheet. And our link tag relation or style sheet type /CSS, and we're just going to go say we are in the CSS folder of our directory, and we're going to say main.css. And as you can see, we are getting this color here, which our variable is here, and our main.sass, we're having this accent color pop up here. So now, just to give you an example, if I were to do a paragraph tag with hello there, good fellow, and that pops up there. And then we come back to our variables and say we have another p tag with the color of accent color. That changes there. Now, if I needed to, for some reason, change both of these, I wouldn't have to go in and change every single one. Say you have a bunch of different elements with the same color and you have to go in and change every single one. All you have to do is come into your variables.sass and change this to, maybe they wanted it black, and you will then have all these black. That's the awesome power of variables in Sass. And yeah, if you're not using Sass, you should be using it. It'll speed up your workflow. It's super awesome. I love it. Everyone loves it. Alrighty, cool. So let's go ahead and just get rid of those. So now we have our Sass working here. I'm just gonna write a little comment here, just so I know where I'm at. Go ahead and get rid of that. I missed the V. Alright. So then we have main.sass. Okay, and another cool thing that Sass does is, because of this import functionality, you can automatically organize your CSS super easily in Sass. It'll all then pre-process to main.css. And I'll get into this a little later when I start really showing you the power. So let's just start building this out here. Alright, so if we look at the design, this is how you want to look at your designs when you're coding them. So let's go back to the home. Let's look at this. So we have this nav bar here that spans 100% of the document. In this nav bar we have a logo, and then we have our nav. So this is how you're going to build that out in our text editor here. So let's just get rid of that. Come over here so you can kind of still see the design. We're going to say this is the header of the page. In the header, we're going to have a div class of top bar. Alright, and in this top bar we are going to put a tag. In this a tag we're going to put an image. Alright, and right now I don't have that image, but I will get it in a second. I'm just kind of structuring this out right now. So then in there, I should probably have that set up as its own div class logo right there. Alright, and then also we have div, or this is going to be called nav class. We'll call this main nav. Alright, in this nav we have a UL, which is an unordered list. In this unordered list we have, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Alright, I'm just going to go ahead and copy this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Alright, in this LI, we're going to make, this is me here. I'm just going to do this. Cool. So that I can write on all of these. We're going to say a ref and just do that for now. Okay, and then in this one we have home. This one we have about. This one we have men, woman, boys. Excuse me there. Girls. Sale. Find us. And contact. Did I count that wrong? Women, men, boys, girls. Home, about, men, women, boys, girls, sale, find us. Okay, so we don't need this one. Alright. So now if we go over to here, this is what we get. And you're thinking, oh my gosh, this doesn't look anything like this. Well, don't worry. We're going to figure that out right now. And this is what CSS is for. HTML is your content language. It is the structure and the skeleton of what the web is built off of. So this is all of your content, and in your CSS is all of your styles. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to go into my main.sass, and I'm going to actually create a new Sas file, or new file. I'm going to call this header.sass. This just makes editing your CSS later on so much easier, because you can come into these simple folders and just find easily what you're looking for. If I wanted to edit something in the header, I go to the header. Maybe later on, once I create it, if I wanted to edit something in the footer, I go to the footer.sass, and then it's all getting imported into the main. And you'll see that later on when it starts importing in. So we're going to start off with the header. So what we're going to do is we're going to come over here, and we want to see, well, you know what, let's grab this logo first. So let's come over here, let's go into my logo, and this is how I do this in Photoshop. I just go duplicate layer, and I say new, and then the logo is actually right there, and I'm going to go image, trim, which will get rid of all these transparent pixels. And my logo is right here, you can see it here. I go file, save for web. And then I come up here and I say that I want this to be a PNG 24 so that it's transparent. I don't get the white background on it. Alright, and then I say save, and it's going to ask me where, and I'm going to want to put it in that images folder. So I'm going to want to go into the desktop, Choco website, images, and I'm going to save it as logo.png. Alright, and then I can go ahead and X that out and don't save that. Okay, so let's come back here. So let's go ahead and put this logo in. So how I'm going to do this is I'm going to go into the images folder, and then I'm going to say logo.png. And that's because, let's see, this is it. Oh, this is the anchor tag. What am I doing? I need to put that in here. And then put that there, and then I have two quotes there. And then the logo is actually popping up right there. You can't see it because it's a white background. So I'm going to go ahead and do this top bar class. So I'm going to say in our header.sass, I'm going to say that I want the top bar to be, let's see what this color is. This is like a dark blue. So I'm going to copy that color there. Let's see, do we use that color again? Yeah, we use it down here. So I'm going to make a variable. I'm going to call this variable dark blue brand. Okay, I'm going to stick that guy right there. I'm going to come into the header and I'm going to say I want the background color, or I can just say background of this top bar to be the dark blue brand. Alright. And now we have problems. So let's see what I did. see what mixture says. Undefined variable, dark blue brand, dark blue brand, dark blue brand, dark blue. What's the problem? Still getting an issue here. Let's see. Wonder if it's because... Oh, it's because I haven't imported it. That's why. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and import the header.sass. There we go. Alright, so as you can see, we have this dark blue color coming in here. Now, you're probably thinking, why is there a black or a white border going around the entire thing? This is something that all browsers have, a little bit different, but mostly they're all the same, is they all have these default styles they automatically get. For some reason, they put like a weird white border around it. I don't know why, but they do. So what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to go grab a CSS reset. And what I usually do is just go to normalize.css. And it's just a HTML5. It resets all the browsers so they all look the same. It's right here. I just copy this in, and I'll just go into CSS, make a new file, call it normalize.css, and I'll just paste all this in here, save, come into my index.html, copy this, and CSS stands for cascading style sheets, so anything that comes before it, or anything that comes after will take priority. So we're going to want to put normalize in there, and then when you come back over to this, you'll see that that's gone. So that just normalized that out. And if you want to see why, it should be a body tag in here. So you're seeing that margin is gone. So that was margin, and that sets the margin to 0. So we're getting this, and then, but you're thinking, why is this down here? I want to get it up here. So this is how you do that. So we come back into our header.sass, and we can say that we want, or let's finish this off. We can say that we want this to be width 100%, and then we can say that we want the height to be whatever this is, which this is in pixels, good. It's about 80 pixels high. So let's come back here, or come back into our thing and say height 80 pixels. Okay. So now we are going to go to our main nav, and we are going to say that we want it to float left, and we are also going to want to float our logo to the left, and then actually we want to float this guy to the right so that it pops up over here. Alright, and then we're seeing these little dots here because it's a list, and we want to get rid of those. So what we're going to do is we're going to say that we want the UL in this main nav to have a list style of none. So that'll get rid of those. And then we also want the li to have a display inline block, which should do that for you, and put them across like that. We are going to go down into and see what size this is. It's 14-point font. So what we're going to do is we're going to come back into Sublime, and we are going to say in our main Sass, we are going to put we're going to put it up here actually. The asterisk selector basically says select every element on the page, and we're going to say font size 14. Font size 1 EM. So we're gonna say over 14. Well, let me do this really quick. Default for 1M is 16 pixels, so in order to see what that is going to be, I'm just on a calculator right now on my phone. It's 14 divided by 16, and that's 0.875. So we want our font size on all elements to be 0.0 or 0.875 ems. And then, as you can see, that shrinks that down. And that is really tiny. So you know what? I might just make that 1. That looks really big. We'll keep it at 0.875 for now, and figure out what exactly we need to do. Why is that? That's at 100%. This logo looks super weird. Hold on. Looks a little... Oh, that's right. Okay, and then now you're thinking, well, these are touching the sides. I don't want them to touch the sides. So what you're going to do is you're going to come in and you're going to say not before the top bar, but after the top bar, because you want the top bar to span the page. After the top bar, you're going to say div class container. We're going to indent all of this, and then we're going to come down here, and that could... Oops. Oh, I didn't end any of these A tags. Let's go ahead and end all of these. And all of these. Just gonna copy. Put all these in there. Alright, and then so we're going to say div, then we're going to come into our main Sass, and we're going to say container, and the width of our site is 17,700 pixels. We're going to come in and we're going to say, this is going to be 1100. So max width is 1100 pixels, which basically means that it will never extend further than that. It can extend smaller than that, but never further. We're going to say the width is 90%, just so that on smaller devices you don't get the content bumping up against the side of the phones or tablets. And that, and then we're going to say margin 0 and auto, which will automatically center that to the page. So now we come back in, you'll see that it is now centered on that. And we can see that this actually will not extend more than that width of 1700 pixels. So now what we're going to do is we're going to come into our header, main nav, and we're going to say that we want the A's to be a color of white. which you'll see will change there, and then we're going to want to get those underlines off. So text decoration none, and that is so tiny. I'm going to come back into here and just say 0.9 ems. Get that to boost up a little bit. Alright. You know what? We're just going to say 16 pixels. Just to set that, and then I believe that sets the ems to 14. But we can check that later. Don't quote me on that. I could be wrong. Probably am wrong. But here we go. So that's 14. And then I believe for our font, I was using Roboto, which is a Google font. So I'll show you guys how to get that right now. Just go to Google Fonts on Google. Do this. Come into Roboto. And then, where'd it go? Roboto. And then you're going to want to paste this into your header. So remember how we link style sheets? This is linking to the Google font. So we're going to come in here. We're going to say header or index. I'm going to want to put it beforehand. Alright, so we just link to that font. And then all you have to do after that is put this, or we're going to want to actually get all of these. Not the italic, but the thin, and then we don't need the italic ones. Okay, so let's get all these actually. Let's recopy this in, like so. Okay, and then all you have to do is call the font family on your elements for your CSS. Come in here, and we're going to say that we want these to be font family sans serif. And so that'll change that in, and we're getting an issue because I put the semicolon. And so that has that in there. Alright. So what we're going to do now is we're going to say that we want this font weight, because it looks a little thick, to be 300, which looks a little better there. And then we're also going to want to text transform that to uppercase. I believe I have it on uppercase here. Yes. Okay. And then we want to set the font size to 14 or 12 pixels. Oh, okay. So we're going to need to add something that will make the fonts render better on your browsers, because the browsers are inconsistent with rendering. So what we're going to do is we're going to come over to our asterisk, and we're going to say we want font smoothing anti-aliased, and then we'll do the WebKit for browsers that don't support. WebKit font smoothing anti-aliased. Anti-aliased. So as you can see, it smoothed those out. So now I'm going to need a padding on the UL, which will do padding top 10 pixels. a little bit more than that, 15, 14. That looks about right. And then for the LIs, we're going to need a padding left, which is going to be 10, whatever we have here, which is 25 pixels. So now we got those right there. As you can see, that's coming together nicely. And then what I want is when I hover over these links, I want a little underline to pop up. So how you do that is you go A, and then you say and, hover, and then you say text decoration to be underline. So that means when we hover, we get that going, which that's looking really close. So what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to say border bottom 1 pixel solid white. I'm going to say padding bottom 2 pixels. And that's doing that, which is not what I want. So we're going to say, we're just going to do the underline then. Just like that. Okay, cool. So what we're going to do now is we're going to take that logo and we're going to say margin top 14 pixels as well. So that's bringing that in like that. Cool. That really just came together nicely. Awesome. So that's all in there. Alright guys, I'm going to stop the video for now. We'll do the rest on the next video. We'll make this banner section and we'll go from there. Alright, let me know if you have any questions, comments, concerns. I know this video ran a little long. It was just kind of getting everything set up, everything ready to go. The next few videos should be a little shorter, but thanks for checking in. And if you have any questions, leave a comment. Definitely subscribe if you like to see more videos. Definitely check out my other ones. Thanks guys, take it easy.